Everybody, good morning and welcome to another edition of our Ancillary Cross-Selling Wednesday. Today we have Mike with Wellabe, one of our preferred partners. Mike is going to go over a couple of different products with us today, but in main part, their new short-term care policy, which is being talked about more and more with our cross-selling and with the products that we need to start talking about and being more proficient in, and just knowing the ins and outs on why we need to talk about short-term care. As our mantra and as we say, our clients don't know what they don't know unless we tell them. We don't have to be perfect, but we have to take an initiative and start the chat process. Make sure we're letting them know what we know, because, like I said, these are very important products that we need to talk to our clients about. These are very affordable products. They're very easily underwritten, as Mike will go through. But these are a lot of information. There's a lot of great information here that if we talk to our clients, let them know what's there, the affordability part of it, the peace of mind. There are so many things that we have in our portfolio that you have, and especially with Wellabe in general. They have one of the strongest portfolios in the ancillary cross-selling, space that are second to none. And like I always, if you're not contracted, get with us, get contracted, because, like I said, you're missing out on all of their great products. Wellabe has a great training every Tuesday on products, Wellabe Tuesday. So please look for their emails once you get contracted. If you are already, look for those emails that come on the first of the week or during the week about their trainings on Tuesday. Very, very important, because it just gives you more and more ammunition. This will be recorded and put on our Copeland YouTube channel for you to keep going back and looking at it and getting even more refreshed and more up to date with your just getting your vocabulary, getting comfortable. You do not have to be perfect to sell this stuff. Okay, the important thing is to start the conversation. Okay, letting your clients again know what you know, and letting them start let them tell you no. Don't assume this, and let them let you start being more and more proactive in the extra products that are needed, because we do have an out-of-pocket healthcare crisis in our country, and we need to start being more proactive and letting them know how we can eliminate those costs and at minimal expenditures, or less than $1 a day, or right at it in most situations. So at further conversation, Mike, thank you again for joining us, and the floor is yours, and looking forward to seeing what you have to offer. Thank you, sir.
Well, thanks, Joey, and everyone at Copeland. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, as mentioned, we're going to cover our product portfolio here at Wellabe. We are going to focus heavily on short-term care. It's definitely been our most talked about product, just released last year. And it's one of those areas of healthcare that definitely needs some addressing. And we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, feel free to throw them in the chat area, and I'll be happy to answer those as we go along or at the end. Real quick about Wellabe, though, we've been around since 1929. We were not bought out last year. It was only a name change. So we went from American Enterprise Group, which was our holding company, to Wellabe. So strictly name change, all the same companies, still rated AM Best, or A by AM Best. And I think one of the most important things, especially with ancillary products that do require some underwriting at times, is that we have accessible and expedient underwriters. So if you have questions about your client's health or a condition that may or may not allow them to pass underwriting, you can always give us a call, speak to our department, and we'll be happy to work with you, because it's always hard to come back from a decline. You get your clients involved and as excited as they could be about buying insurance, and then their decline coverage, and it's just not a good situation for anyone. So definitely utilize our underwriting department. So short-term care. Why short-term care? Well, it's one of those insurances that your clients will probably need. As you can see from the statistic, the very first one, 70% chance for people turning 65 will need some sort of long-term care services, whether that's home care, to help with eating, bathing, cleaning, any of those things, all the way up to a full-blown facility residency. So depending on their needs, but again, it's over 70% chance of needing it in today's society. And let's face it, everyone's living longer, but they're not necessarily as healthy. They're still needing requirements from some other assistance. And all this costs a lot of money. The third bullet point down, and our plan focuses on home care. So the third bullet point talks about more home services. $44 at home for an RN, $31 for an LPN, $20.50 an hour for home health aid, $20 an hour for homemaking services. I did the math already. That's roughly $26 an hour on average for someone to come to the house and help your client or your client's loved ones in some capacity. So we'll talk more about that in a minute, but just something to keep in your back of your mind when you're talking to clients and you're asking them, what are your plans to age in place? And they say, oh, my kids will take care of me. My next question was always, do they know that? We start talking about the sandwich generation where, they have kids of their own. So your clients' kids have full-time jobs, probably have their own kids. Even if they're, older teenagers, they have lives, they have sporting events, activities, getting ready for college and having to pay for that and everything else. And now you're adding the care of a senior on top of that. They say raising a baby's hard, which I've done 3 times. It is very difficult, but at least with a baby, you could, throw them on your hip and walk around the mall. It's hard to do that with your parent. So definitely a whole new level of struggles and concerns when it comes to aging and aging in place. So the basics, these are the states we're available in. Currently, we just expanded to 14 new states in February. So we were in 10, expanded to 14 more. So we're available in a total of 24 states and more coming. Our goal is to be in over 30 states once the final rollout is complete. But we're working with all the DOIs, but these are all the states we're currently in. Now we have 3 levels of care, and depending on your client's health will determine which level of care they qualify for. So the far left, we have Essential Care Plus. This is if they answer no to all 11 health questions. And if you're thinking, well, what are the health questions? It's basically a 24-month look back. So we're looking back about 2 years. And if you want to see those questions in detail, if you log into the agent portal through Wellabe, you can actually download the field underwriting guide, and all 11 questions are in there. So they answer no to all 11. They get standard underwriting. They get a daily home health benefit of up to $300 a day for up to 360 days of in-home care. And that's where we differentiate from our competition. A lot of our competitors, short-term care plans or home care plans, really focus on facility with a home healthcare rider. We do the opposite because we want your clients to age in place, not age where they end up, like in a nursing home. So our goal is to keep them where they want to be, and you could do that with Wellabe. How's that for a catchphrase? But again, up to $300 a day, 360 days of care. They have their choice of a 0 or 20-day elimination period. Obviously, a 20-day elimination period would help bring down the premium, and the benefits with this can be restored one time. So that's a plus. But let's say you have a client that's maybe not as healthy. As long as they answer no the first 6 questions, and yes, any of the remaining 7, we have less restrictive underwriting, but we cut the daily benefit to $150 and a required 20-day elimination period. The other side of this plan is we understand a lot of couples will join or will enroll jointly, right? The husband and wife will typically both come on because who knows who's going to get sick first and who needs help first. So it's best if they're both protected. But you're going to run across situations where you have the healthy spouse and then one that's not so healthy. So we do have the limited benefit rider. It is required that they either get the Essential Care Plus or the Essential Care. If one of them qualifies for that, the other loved one could get the limited benefit rider. And this, I say, it's not as good as the other 2, but it's better than having nothing at all. So a daily benefit of up to $100 for up to 180 days with a 90-day elimination period. And if you're thinking, wow, that's not the greatest coverage, well, we're not covering the most healthiest people with this either. So rather than leave their spouse out with no coverage, we'll give them some coverage because these are folks that wouldn't qualify for anything else anyway. Now, we do have discounts available, 7% if one applicant lives with someone over age 40, 14% if they both apply and get regular or the plus coverage, 5% if one of them qualifies for limited benefit rider. So there are discounts available in most states. But I want to really bring up this chart. So when you download the agent brochure, this is the chart you're going to see. Now, the top half benefits are all the core benefits. You've got the benefit periods, the elimination periods, the daily benefits, and the 2 indemnity benefits as well. So if they're on claim and they get a home improvement done, we give them a flat $500 indemnity benefit. They have to come on with a care coordination plan, which basically means they trigger 2 ADLs or have a cognitive impairment. When they see their medical professional, whether it be a qualified social worker or their doctor, and they come up with a care plan saying, yes, Martha can no longer perform 2 ADLs, or again, has a cognitive impairment, we'll refund them $500 or give them indemnity benefit, of $500 to get their care coordination in place. So we'll actually pay them to come on claim. Now, a couple of things to point out here before you go into the optional riders. One, the home health care benefit period from 90 to 360 days. These are days of service, not calendar days. So if Martha has a 90-day benefit period, but she only gets help twice a week, she has 45 weeks of care. So you could really stretch out a small benefit over a long time, depending on the frequency of care. Also, the daily benefit amount from 10 to 300 or 10 to 150, depending on the level they qualify for, that's a flat indemnity benefit. So if they have a $150 benefit and they only spent $100, they're still being paid out at $150. So they could also stretch out their benefit based on the amount of benefit they're receiving. So if they're not getting that much care for a couple days, we'll basically overfund them, if you would, for it, and they could use extra funds for extra days of care. So there's 2 ways to really broaden this plan for them. Now, there are some riders available. Now, we understand that people may go to the facility and end up in a nursing home, because let's face it, nobody wants to go to a nursing home. Everyone ends up in a nursing home. Same benefit periods for facility, same elimination periods. We do go up in daily benefit it goes from 10 to 300, as you can see above, to 100 to 500, because obviously facility is far more expensive than living in your home. And then for your essential care, it's $100 to $250. We have inflation protection, we have adult daycare, and return of premium. So as I show this chart to agents, the number one thing that happens is, well, how do I quote this, right? What amounts do I use? How do I quote it? How do I know how much my clients will need? And I would say if you don't come up with one baseline or some ideas with your client, I'd recommend the following. I'd recommend quoting a daily benefit of $150 as your baseline. The reason being is if they qualify for essential care, the $10 to $150 benefit, they still qualify. With Essential Care Plus, now you have room to go up if they want more coverage. So if you quote $200 and you only qualify for Essential Care, now you have to tell them that, oh, we can't do 200, we're going to do 150. But if you use 150 as your baseline coverage, you could go between Essential Care and Essential Care Plus. So I would suggest using that as your baseline daily benefit. Your benefit period, I would quote 90, 180, and 360. So shortest, middle, and most. And that way you can give your clients 3 quotes to say, hey, here's what we're looking at, for coverage. 90 days of benefit, 180 days of benefit, 360 days of benefit, and give them those 3 quotes to give an idea of how much they should budget towards their short-term care. One thing I forgot to mention at the beginning is, we call this a short-term care plan. This is actually considered a limited long-term care plan. So for your clients who don't have long-term care, and according to Kaiser Family Foundation, only 11% of people over 65 have a long-term care plan. So 89% of people out there that you talk to, including your clients, don't have long-term care. And the same study reported that 45% of seniors assume that Medicare would take care of them, which we know is not the case. So it's important to talk to your clients about, hey, if you want to age in place, this is the policy to do it. Now, again, we don't call it a limited long-term care plan because it sounds bad, right? Limited is really good for your car because that means it's fancy, but limited insurance just sounds negative. So we call it a short-term care plan. And the reason it stops at 360 days of a total benefit period is because at day 361, it becomes long-term care. But again, if they have a 360-day benefit and they get help twice a week, that's it. You essentially gave them almost 2 years of twice a week coverage. And of course, that can really make the difference of aging in place and then being forced to go to the facility. And for the clients that say, hey, my family will take care of me, they're here, my kids are here, they'll take care of me. Well, who's going to take care of them as they continue to work, do their kids' activities, etc.? So I've seen agents talk to agents, and they're telling their clients, look, this is a great plan to help your kids take care of you and give you that extra layer of care and not burn out your kids and make them resentful towards you. Of course, use that last one sparingly. But, you could do a 90-day benefit, and maybe it gives a couple afternoons off for their loved ones to go do grocery shopping or take care of the kids or just unwind for a minute. So you could use this if they have a lot of care in place already, use it as a respite care plan. So again, lots of ways to talk about this, but I think the most important thing is to talk to your clients about what does aging in place look like with them. Because we always talk about saving your clients money on premium for Medicare Advantage or MedSup or, offsetting hospital costs. And that's great for protecting their aspirin. Now we're protecting their assets, because if they have to sell their house to go to a nursing home, we're going from saving a couple $1,000s to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you haven't seen it, there's a great story in the New York Times all about Medicaid recovery. And I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a second, but for a lot of people, they go to facility or they're at home and they qualify for Medicaid. So Medicaid comes in and starts picking up the bill. So the family's relieved, your client's relieved, they've got Medicaid, someone's flipping the bill. Well, after they pass, Medicaid, ever since 1993, has been mandated by Congress to get the money back, to recover the funds that they spent on any type of long-term care, whether it be home care or facility care. And there's a congresswoman in Illinois who's introducing a bill, and what that's doing is trying to reverse that, because they found since 2021, over 17,000 families have had to sell their loved one's house to pay back Medicaid. And if you're doing the math, that's roughly 15 homes a day, give or take. So, it's unbeknownst to a lot of families that, oh my gosh, Medicaid could ask for the money back. So educate your clients. Hey, Medicaid's not a viable, tool to age in place or go to a facility because it will harm your family in the long run. And if you don't have long-term care, you have no plan. So definitely have the conversation with your clients. Again, use the 150 base, and that way you have some flexibility if they qualify for plus or essential care, and then quote 90, 180, 360. Just have the conversation with your clients. Even if they don't buy, at least you made them aware that their Medicare plan or Medicare in general is not going to be there for them. So any questions on short-term care, please let me know. I highly recommend downloading the underwriting guide and also downloading the agent brochure, which has this chart on it so you can familiarize with it, and then simply log into My Enroller, which is our enrollment platform, and simply play with some quotes, and you can get an idea of what some baseline costs are. I can tell you the average premium we've seen is about $140 a month, but again, that is for a couple. So that's basically, $70 premiums, well, not 70, 140 divided by 2 is, about $70 a month, give or take. So, play with some quotes, get some ideas, and just start talking to your clients about short-term care. So we also have some other product lines, as mentioned. Joey said we have a pretty good range of ancillary products, which we think we do. Just ask us. We'll tell you how good we are. Excuse me. But we have Medicare supplements available in the dark orange states. Your usual suspects, G, N, F, and high deductible G as well. For your clients, we focus on having single-digit rate increases. That's our focus. Can't promise it, but we try and maintain very decent rate increases for our markets. So definitely check that out. We also have first diagnosis cancer plans available in the dark teal states, or whatever color you would want to refer to that as. So our first diagnosis cancer is a one and done. It's simply if your client hasn't had any cancer concerns or cancer in the past 10 years, they will basically qualify for $10,000 to $25,000 worth of cancer coverage. Very simple. 10-year look back, $10,000 to $25,000. Once you pay out, the policy's over. It's one and done. Great policy for Medicare Advantage clients, because every Medicare Advantage plan I've seen has a 80-20 split for chemotherapy, which at 20% can add up really fast. So definitely take a look at that for your clients. We have dental, which is obviously very easy to understand. It's teeth coverage, right? We all know what dental is. They're the states available. There's the chart. Our most common plan is the Platinum 1000. The only difference between gold and platinum is going to be the 50-50 for basic services and 80-20 for basic services. So you see the Platinum 1000 is 80%, no waiting period. In fact, there's no waiting period at all for our plans. So they get 100% coverage for preventative right away, 80-20 with the Platinum plan for basic services, and 20% for the first 12 months, 50-50 then thereafter for bridges, crowns, dentures, all the big stuff. Now, the Platinum 1000, the reason I've been saying that so much is that's our number one plan. We also have two riders available. The first rider is a buy-up, and that gives them an extra $1,000 per year in dental benefit. The other one, which is the most common one, is going to be our carryover rider. And what that's going to do is any unused benefit on December 31st will roll over the following year up to a maximum of $3,000. So it's a nice way to tell your clients, if you don't use all your dental benefit, you don't lose it. It will actually roll over into the following year. So about 60 to 70% of all the plans sold are Platinum 1000 with the rollover benefit. Now, probably our one, besides MedSups, our most commonly sold plan is going to be a hospital indemnity plan. Available in the dark red states, as you can see there. It is a true indemnity style benefit. I'm going to cover this in quick detail, just, so we're not on here all day, because no one wants to hear my angelic voice all day. And I say angelic very sarcastically. So our hospital indemnity plan comes with 5 core benefits. So if they get no riders, they get all this. The hospital confinement benefit, $100 to $600 a day, pays day 1 up to day 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. Lifetime restoration with a 60-day benefit period. So just like Medicare resets, after 60 days of non-utilization, our plan resets as well. The number one question I get here, though, is let's say Myrtle has a $300 a day, 6-day benefit. So Myrtle goes to the hospital on January 2nd because she slips and falls on the ice. She's there for 3 days, right? So she gets $900. So 3 days at $300 is $900, but she has a 6-day benefit. What about the other 3 days? Those days are still available until the 60-day reset when she resets back to 1. So in that example, she uses 3 days, January 2nd. February 2nd, she goes back to the hospital. She will pick up on day 4. So again, if you don't use it, you don't lose it because you pick up where you left off until the 60-day reset or until you maximize your days in that benefit period. So easy to use. One of the great things about our plan is that we have an observation benefit with no minimum or maximum required hours per stay. So they get 6 days a year of observation. So if they're in an observation for 3 hours and are discharged, they get their full hospital confinement benefit paid out. ER room, $150, 4 days a year for covered injury. Mental health, $175 for 7 days. And transportation and lodging, if they're getting assistance or medical treatment more than 50 miles, they have to travel to receive that. We'll pay them $100 a day, up to $1,000 per calendar year. So that's the core benefit. If they get no riders, that's the plan. We have a slew of riders. I'm going to cover the top 3, though, and you of course, can read about the rest. But the number one rider that's offered with our plans is ambulance services. Pays $250 a day, up to 4 days a year, up to $2,500. The reason we put a limit on that is because we don't want people think that this is a very expensive Uber ride, because it can be, but they get 4 days a year. Hopefully they're not using more than that. So that's the number one rider. Number two rider that's added on to our plans is the outpatient surgical benefit rider. So the second one in the white blocks. It's $250 to $1,000 a day, up to 2 times a year. So I've had a lot of agents tell their clients, if you go in as an inpatient, you're covered. You go into observation, you're covered. You go in for outpatient surgery, which is a lot of things nowadays, you'll still receive a benefit with this plan to offset your copay with your Medicare Advantage plan. So a lot of clients appreciate that. And third, the most common rider available is the lump sum cancer benefit rider. It works just like the standalone plan. It's a one and done. As soon as you pay out, the rider falls off the plan. It starts at 1,000, goes to 10,000, available up to age 80. Now, the reason this is such a popular plan for us, if you look in the top right corner, we have a guaranteed issue ages between 60 and 79. That's 19 years of guaranteed issue time. So our guaranteed issue time is so long that it could actually vote in this upcoming election. So anyone that's between 60 and 79, when you go to their application, which is all online, and the system sees that, it even pulls the health questions off the app for you, so you don't have to worry about answering no. Now, our plan goes from 18 to 85. So if they're between the ages of 18 and 59 or 80 to 85, they will have 9 health questions with basically a 1-year look back. Now, all plans have a 6-month pre-X for any injuries or any illnesses or chronic conditions they have coming onto the plan, but after 6 months it's lifted. And then any underwritten policy has a 2-year contestability period, which I can tell you helped our claims process a lot when we explained it a guaranteed issue, because the contestability period really slows down the claims process. But there's nothing to contest if they're between the ages of 60 and 79, because we ain't asking health questions. So our claims process has gotten quicker. Our guaranteed issue time has broadened a lot, and every rider is available guaranteed issue as well, including cancer. And I get a lot of questions on that. So the way it works is, if you have a client that had cancer, let's say 2 years ago, they had prostate cancer, and they decide to buy a hospital indemnity plan with a cancer rider, what's going to happen is the prostate cancer has already been diagnosed once. We won't cover that. Any new diagnosis of cancer will be covered. So if their prostate cancer comes back, let's face it, cancer is never cured. It may go in remission, but it comes back. No one says, oh, you got prostate cancer again. It's, oh, your cancer came back, because it's always kind of still somewhat embedded in the body in some capacity. So any new diagnosis would be covered. No prior diagnoses, unfortunately. But that's how we can offer it as a guaranteed issue rider. So 3 ways we've seen agents really sell this plan. If you're like, man, one of the problems with hospital indemnity in my market is I've got 19 Medicare Advantage plans, and I've got 19 different benefit periods and benefit amounts. How do I match it all up? Well, agents have gotten smart, and they're doing 3 different options. So they're doing what we call a front load of the policy, and that's 3 days at $600. So what that does is it's almost a universal fit, because that's the shortest time, maximum days. And we've heard from a lot of agents that their clients aren't going to the hospital for 5 days anymore. They're going in for 1 or 2 days, and that's it. Every now and then they'll be in for longer. So what this does, 3 days at $600, gives them a maximum of $1,800. Most Medicare Advantage plans I've seen cap out for an inpatient stay of about $1,500 to $1,600. So you're going to give them full coverage in a short stay, right? And it fits with any Medicare Advantage plan out there. So now, rather than worrying about quoting 19 different ways, you quote one way. 3 days at $600. And I've been asked by other agents, they're like, well, if they're only in for 1 day, they get $600. They only owe $300. Well, no one's going to call you and say, oh my gosh, you gave me too much money. How dare you? They're going to thank you for the extra funds because now they can, pay those copays for follow-up doctor visits or use it for any additional prescription drugs they have after being discharged from the hospital. And it resets after 90 days or 60 days, just like everything else. So it's a nice universal fit. Now, if your clients are on a tighter budget, because you can see this sample quote from my backyard, I live in Columbia, Missouri, right in the middle of the state. So for a 65-year-old female in my area with no discounts, no riders, just a straight 3 days, $600, it was a little less than $23 a month. But if they can afford that, we could light load the policy, which is 3 days at $300. So we're going to cover more than likely their first 3 days at the hospital. If they'd save for 5, though, we're going to cut their copays in more than half for less than $12 a month for a 65-year-old female who lives in mid-Missouri. And again, your quotes may change a little bit depending on where you live, but for $12, $13, $14 a month, you could cut their hospitalization in half or eliminate it for the first 3 days. Your clients will listen to that. Now, the other thing is, I mentioned that the cancer rider is guaranteed issue. So some agents have gotten wise and they're using our hospital indemnity plan just for the cancer rider. And what that looks like is, let's say you have someone on a Medicare supplement, but they want cancer coverage, but they had cancer 5 years ago. Remember, our standalone plan has a 10-year look back, so they wouldn't qualify. But you can write them a hospital indemnity plan for 3 days at $100. That gets them into the plan, and then add a $10,000 first diagnosis cancer rider. And as you can see, it's roughly $24 a month for that 65-year-old female. So now, if they go to the hospital, they get a couple bucks, but if they get cancer, they get checked for $10,000. It's the same check with the first diagnosis cancer plan. It's just a different policy. So, or if you have someone on a Medicare Advantage plan that has no copays for hospitalization or low copays, you could use this just for the cancer rider the same way. So 3 very easy ways to quote hospital indemnity, same guaranteed issue periods, but now you got a lot more options for your clients, especially if they had some illnesses recently or within the past handful of years. And this actually is all available on a flyer. If you log into the agent portal through Wellabe and you go to product information, hospital indemnity, this is actually on a flyer. So if you're like, I want to see that again, just download the flyer. It's all spelled out on there. It's like I think it's called sales tips. And it's just a quick flyer, and all that is pulled from there. So nice, easy way to do all that. All our applications are done on MindRoller. So everything we just talked about is all through MindRoller. Works on any desktop computer, laptop, tablets, even your phone if it's big enough. Let's face it, some of those phones are basically small TVs, and you could do an application right on your phone. You can quote, you can do the whole application there. Works with any internet connection. Of course, faster the better, etc. So we don't take paper apps. And I know that upsets a lot of agents who did paper apps, including myself. I did a lot of paper apps in the field. But, I mean, we're one of the last industries that does paper apps. Last car I bought, everything was digital. And they handed me a jump drive with all my paperwork on it. So the world's going digital. And if you think my clients don't like paper, they like paper apps, it's because that's what you're using, in my opinion. Because when I enroll in group benefits, and for the past 15 years, I get an email link from HR. I click on the link and do it online. So all your clients aging into Medicare, they don't do paper apps, especially for the health insurance. They're clicking on the links provided from the HR department and going online and enrolling. So this is the new norm, has been for a while. So we only do electronic apps. Now you can log into the portal, wellabe.com/sign in. Again, we have client materials there. We got agent training. As Joey mentioned, we do a live, it's called Tuesday Talk, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central, where we talk about everything. Yesterday, we talked about how to close an old lead and how to, politely say, I'm not going to call you anymore for a while, but I will call you in October when the AEP hits, and how to structure that, what that looks like, some ideas on letters and phone calls and text messages and yada, yada, yada that you might have. So we do that every week. We talk about all kinds of stuff, including products, but mostly sales and marketing ideas. We do have a client-facing app. And the reason I bring this up is they have their cards on there. They can track their benefits, but also your information is on there as well. So if they need to talk to somebody, the client support number through Wellabe is on there. Also, you're on there as well, because we understand the relationships between really you and your client. We just happen to be the healthcare provider. So, or the insurance company. So when they have questions, we want to make sure you're in the mix, or they can call us. And if they try and change plans or anything else, we will direct them right back to you. So any questions about our product, please put them in the chat area on the user panel. I'm happy to answer any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises.
Hey, Mike, thank you. That was, like I said, the products that Wellabe has to offer are second to none. I love the hospital indemnity plan, the Medicare Advantage gap plan. The quotes that Mike gave are fantastic. The front load and the cancer rider that they use with the $100 for the 3 days, and then using the $10,000 cancer, guys, that is a fantastic benefit, because the $10,000 cancer is guaranteed issue up to age 80. So what Wellabe is giving you at your disposal is a lot of different ways to help your clients and to help you, increase your persistency, get more referrals, increase, help your current book of business, because the call centers are calling your book of business and they're talking about these ancillary plans. So you need to be proactive and start talking to your clients about these plans before they do. And the great part about this is you can talk to clients all year long about these plans. There's no election period. There's no special training. There's no special certifications required or anything like that. This is all year long, 24/7, 365, that you can talk to anybody's clients that you want to about hospital indemnity, cancer, or any of these plans. And what that does is it builds up your pipeline for next AEP. Or if you have an SEP that comes up, you can talk to them. Or if you have a 5-star plan, it gives you so much more of a conversation piece if you use these. If you're not sure how to do it, get with me. You have Mike, you have your regional sales directors. We are all very capable of helping you succeed in this. But please use these because it is necessary. I want to add one more thing is we were very fortunate this time that CMS did not come back with what all they wanted. Okay. But next time we may not be as lucky. We need to be diverse in our insurance products. And one way we can do this is ancillary plans. Be diverse and know what you have for your hospital indemnity, Medicare Advantage gap, your cancer plans, your short-term plan, your short-term plans. All of these plans are right there at your disposal. Okay, all you have to do is just start talking about them, and then get a little bit of knowledge. And just like anything else, the more you talk, the more you'll understand them. The more you'll even help expand what you need to know. But if you don't talk about them, like we said earlier, your clients are not going to know that you had these at your disposal. Any questions that you have, if you want to go ahead and just ask them, we're here. But Mike, those were great products. I love Wellabe's portfolio. I love talking about y'all's portfolio because of all the great things that you have that can really enhance an agent's an agent's life if they really just sit down and take a few minutes and really get to know what you guys are all about.
I appreciate that, and I'm glad you brought that up with CMS and such. A lot of agents I know are freaking out over CMS, and I know there's still some final ruling coming down the pike. But as CMS changes their mind every year, it doesn't affect us at all. So all your med subs, all your ancillary products, if you're worried about getting a pay cut, this is the ultimate way to not have that happen.
Absolutely. Well, if there aren't any questions, Mike, thank you again. Like I said, Wellabe has one of the strongest portfolios that we have, in the country, especially with Copeland and Integrity. We really appreciate y'all's relationship, and we have, we have one in the chat here. I saw something come up. Let's see. I have another agent in my office. How do I get her sign up with Wellabe? To just get with me, and I will get you, and we'll get her contracted. And I'll go over that with you one-on-one, okay? And I'll go over that with you. So yes, and I'll also reach out to you as well. So yeah, anyways, but yeah, y'all have a great deal going on, and like I said, thank you again for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
All right, take care, everyone. I appreciate taking time out of your day, and anytime you need anything, please let us know. Thanks, Joey.
I will, Mike. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'll talk to you all soon.